Good Friday morning. It is May 22nd. We are heading into the Memorial Day weekend, and I'm meteorologist Craig Moeller. We've got a great weather desk. This half hour devoted to today's top weather headlines. Let's jump into the topics. Obviously, with the big holiday weekend here, we've got a lot to talk about with the weekend. We'll talk about the weather, but there are also some weekend recreational concerns, kind of a product of some of the unusual weather that we've been seeing. We'll get into that. We're going to talk about water levels in some North Carolina lakes and also just the water quality concerns as officials monitor that here around Hampton Roads. So we'll get into all of that. In addition, NOAA yesterday at 11 a.m. released their seasonal outlook for the Atlantic hurricane season. This is something we've really been focused on for a while here on the weather desk, looking ahead to the hurricane season, because we also have this developing strong, it's believed to become very strong, El Nino, possibly a super El Nino later this summer and into the fall. So that kind of plays into what is expected with the hurricane season. We'll give you the numbers from NOAA, and we'll talk about kind of what's going on out there now and what we think will happen eventually. All right, in addition, you know, it's been a very dry period of weather we've gone through for months and months across parts of the country, and out west, Utah is now in a drought state of emergency. We'll talk about their situation, more problems with the dry conditions out in Nevada, back across other parts of the Southwest as well. And then we're also going to deal with fire danger out there. We'll have updates on those wildfires. Now, this is kind of a fun story, I think. Some interesting new thoughts and discoveries. You know, the James Webb Telescope, Space Telescope, is out there providing all kinds of incredible new images of space. And one of the more recent discoveries, there's an interesting new thought kind of on one of Neptune's moons. So we'll talk about that moon, what makes it a little different, and what they think is going on with that. We'll also have how long the rain chances that we now have across our area. We've been waiting and waiting and waiting for rain here in the Mid-Atlantic. Now we've got rain chances, but it looks like it's going to be with us for several days. You might be wondering, how long is this going to last? We'll talk about that. So plenty to go over. We'll start off with a quick look here at Hampton Roads Memorial Day weekend. You see the chances for scattered showers on Saturday. Not a total washout, but I do think periods of showers here and there kind of off and on through the day. There'll also be chances for scattered showers on Sunday. Now, the high on Saturday is going to be close to 80. We should be back up around 84 on Sunday. So these temperatures a little bit above average. We're typically topping out now around 78, 79 degrees. For Memorial Day, 86, better chances for more showers. A little more concerned that there could be more persistent rain on Memorial Day, and then those rain chances continue beyond that into our Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Now, ahead of the Memorial Day weekend, health officials are monitoring water quality across Hampton Roads. Just this week, health officials issued a no-swim advisory for part of Buckrow Beach in Hampton. That advisory is now clear, but we could see more this summer. Jeremiah Beatty spoke with the Norfolk Health Department about what goes into water monitoring and what beachgoers should know.
Norfolk health officials are preparing for a busy beach season, and with Memorial Day weekend just days away, crews are already out testing the water.
So we like to start beach monitoring a week before the holiday season begins, because we want to ensure we've got our parameters down, our equipment's working.
Marcia Snyder is the environmental health supervisor with the Norfolk Department of Public Health. She says every Monday morning, crews test about 10 beach sites across Ocean View.
We take a water sample. We are also doing parameters in the water of salinity, water temperature, currents, size of the waves, the wind direction, the weather itself, conditions on the beach.
Snyder says those samples are then taken back to a lab for testing, searching for elevated levels of Enterococcus, a type of bacteria that can signal fecal contamination in the water. She says the bacteria itself may not always make people sick, but it can point to other health risks.
Bacterial concerns can give people gastrointestinal infections and disease. They can get respiratory disease, even infected cuts and wounds.
If high bacteria levels are found, the city issues beach advisories through signs, social media, and online updates telling people it's unsafe to get in the water.
Say we get a heavy rain a couple days later, you do want to beware because the sample we took that Monday might be clear, but after a heavy rain we get runoff. Runoff brings all sorts of contaminants into the bay.
Snyder also encourages people to clean up after themselves, respect the environment, and check beach conditions before heading out. From Ocean View, Jeremiah Beatty, 13 News Now.
And I'm going to have more detailed look at our beach forecast for today. You know, it's kind of gray out there. We've seen some sprinkles. We're actually kind of drying out for now. But I also wanted to talk to you about another concern down in North Carolina. And coming into this big holiday weekend, a lot of folks want to get out and take advantage of some of the inland lakes. Well, some lakes in North Carolina are experiencing low water levels. Lake Norman is about 20 miles north of Charlotte. An ongoing drought in the area has made water levels about 4 feet lower than normal. While normal boating routes in the channels are still safe, the water along the shores are much lower. A nearby boat club says they've already seen cases of boaters running into problems in shallow waters they weren't prepared for.
As far as the low water levels go, we always recommend staying in the channel, go in familiar areas. I wouldn't be venturing out far from where you're not used to. And then also we always recommend wear your life jacket. Lake and boating safety is so important these days. And again, with the low water, it's another obstacle.
The low water changes a lot there near the shores. Now, it is Boating Safety Week, so remember to check your equipment before heading out into the water. Always important to make sure you are safe and good to go. All right, I told you we'd take a look at our beach forecast. You can see there's some more wet weather out to the west. We'll focus more on the severe weather outlook. There is not any severe weather expected for Hampton Roads. We'll talk about other parts of the country that could see some rough weather, but I do want to focus on what's happening at our beaches right now since we're talking about the beginning of the Memorial Day weekend. You can see the boardwalk right now, pretty damp. We do have a marine layer. Northeast winds have been coming in. We're looking live with the Thompson Creek Window Company Skyview, and you see the wave action there. It's pretty choppy. It's pretty turned over. You're not looking at massive wave action, but we do have some waves that are out there, and with the northeast winds, as the waves blow towards the shore, they kind of collapse on themselves, so it makes for pretty messy surf out there. We'll check in with the airport very quickly, and I can tell you currently we have northeast winds 13 miles per hour. It's a cool 61 degrees with light sprinkles showing up. That's at Norfolk International. Now, as we take a look at the beach forecast, we do have that chance for showers through about 10 or 11. It should dry out later this afternoon, but there might still be some pockets of mist. Obviously not a great beach day. It's funny, we get the UV index automatically sent in, and it's technically still high, but if we've got the clouds, it'll be more moderate. Now, if we get some breaks in the clouds, which some of the models were suggesting, you could see that UV index spike. And that rip current threat is moderate. You just saw the waves out there. It is a little choppy. Out on both the bay, the southern part of the Chesapeake Bay, and the waters just east of Virginia Beach, we do have small craft advisories that will continue through the day. So not a great day, obviously, to be out on the water. Small craft, you'll want to stay in port. All right, we're going to take a short break. You know, hurricane season just 2 weeks away. The latest predictions from NOAA and how you can prepare right now. Welcome back to the Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Craig Moeller. All right, we've talked a lot about the upcoming hurricane season. This is the outlook from Colorado State University. Dr. Gray, for years and years and years, did a phenomenal job forecasting the upcoming hurricane seasons each year. And the team that has now succeeded him, he's now retired, the team from Colorado State continues to put out their updates, and again, they do a great job. Right now, they're going slightly below average. You see the average number of named systems, 13, 6 hurricanes, and then of those 6 hurricanes, 2 of those, that's what they are forecasting to become major hurricanes. Again, this is a great group that does a lot of really good work in forecasting the hurricane season. But we also wait for NOAA to release their official outlook. And with June 1 fast approaching the start of the hurricane season, just about here, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's first forecast is finalized. Karen Kaifa breaks it down for us.
From fires to tornadoes to flooding, 2026 has already seen a deluge of wicked weather. And with the Atlantic hurricane season just over a week away, the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration is outlooking a below average season with the potential for 8 to 14 named storms. Of those, 3 to 6 hurricanes, including 1 to 3 major hurricanes, category 3 or above.
Even though we're expecting a below average season in the Atlantic, it's very important to understand that it only takes one. We have had Category 5s make landfall in the past during below average seasons.
But the reason for the anticipated quiet in the Atlantic is also concerning: a budding moderate to strong El Nino and the above average cyclone season in the Pacific.
The Eastern Pacific, we're expecting 15 to 22 named storms, 9 to 14 hurricanes, 5 to 9 major hurricanes. And in the Central Pacific, we're expecting 5 to 13 tropical cyclones.
This weather pattern is expected to redraw global weather maps, sparking flooding for some and drought and wildfires for others. The forecasts come amid ongoing upheaval at the Federal Emergency Management Agency, which President Donald Trump pushed to dismantle in 2025. But with Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen now at the helm of the Department of Homeland Security, the administration is working to stabilize and reform FEMA. For its part, NOAA says it is ready for whatever Mother Nature has in store. In Washington, I'm Karen Kaifa.
All right, so keeping in line with CSU's forecast as well, NOAA's saying close to maybe a little bit below average activity because of this developing El Nino. This is a look at sea surface temperatures. You can see the Pacific sea surface temperatures very warm. We're starting to warm up. Obviously, those temperatures building down in the Caribbean and in the Gulf. Our coastal waters still cool here, but it won't be too long before they start to warm up. Now, the big thing concerning the developing El Nino is the sea surface temperature anomaly, okay? How different is it from what we might typically expect or average? And you can see now with more orange showing up off the coast of Peru and near the equator here, just taking a look at the Eastern Pacific, we're starting to get more of the oranges filling in over the coming months. This is going to get darker and it's going to start to fill back in, really indicating the development of this coming El Nino. Right now, we're still technically neutral, but trending towards a strong El Nino as we get into the peak part of the hurricane season. You know, we max out right around September 10th. And at that point, we were expected to be in a strong El Nino. El Ninos tend to disrupt in the Atlantic basin some of the developing hurricanes. Let's hope that continues to be the case so we catch a break here in the Atlantic. This is not a bad thing for us if you don't want to worry about hurricanes, and who does, right? But in the Eastern Pacific, they tend to have more development during El Nino. So that could be problematic for Hawaii. Right now, nothing really brewing for sure in the Eastern Pacific, so that's good news. As I mentioned, the Gulf, while the waters are starting to warm up, we're not seeing any signs of organization. The Caribbean still looks quiet, and things are looking good across the main development region. This area typically becomes more active a little later in the season, but those sea surface temperatures already starting to come come up. So we'll be watching all of it. For now, no tropical activity is anticipated over the next 7 days. I can tell you here at 13 News Now, we are committed to keeping you informed and prepared ahead of hurricane season. So scan the QR code on your screen to download the 13 News Now Hurricane Guide, and it's got all kinds of information and resources to help you be prepared and make it through the hurricane season. It includes checklists, important contact information, and weather alerts. There's so much there to keep you and your family safe. All right, coming up, you know it's been very dry across so much of the country, and those dry conditions are fueling fire concerns out in the west. Why one state's now in an emergency and another is projecting a busy summer wildfire season. Welcome back to the Weather Desk. Yesterday, the U.S. Drought Monitor was released. The new one updates every Thursday morning at 8:30 Eastern. And with the newest drought monitor that just came out yesterday, we now have extreme drought for the eastern shore, Accomack and northern parts of Northampton. Also, the northern neck and much of the middle peninsula now under extreme drought. It's filled in back towards Charlottesville and Stanton, some of the areas out in the northern parts of Virginia. So we definitely need the rain for these areas. We've got some rain in the forecast. Don't know that it's really going to be super heavy, so maybe not a big drought buster, but at this point, having multiple days with opportunities for even light to moderate rain, we'll take what we can get. You see how dry it is here north of Charlotte, and we talked about Lake Norman, about 20 minutes to the north of Charlotte. This area here under exceptional drought. It's still exceptional drought, Georgia and Florida. But I want to talk to you some more about what's going on out west. You see Utah there. They are in extreme drought. And this is a problem. In Utah, conditions are so bad, the governor has declared a state of emergency. He addressed the state yesterday saying the past winter was the warmest on record.
We are coming off a winter that was the warmest on record by nearly 3 degrees. Unfortunately, these above normal temperatures are expected to continue through the summer.
Nearby in Nevada, fire leaders met yesterday to cover the summer's peak fire season, this coming one. Several factors are going to make it tough for firefighters, including the dry conditions. Last year was the heaviest of the last 5, with over 450,000 charred acres. Authorities say 95% of those fires were put out within a day. And in California, crews are continuing to monitor the Sandy fire in Simi Valley. As of this morning, CAL FIRE says it's 40% contained. The blaze sparked Monday when someone hit a rock with a tractor. It burned at least one home and scorched more than 2,000 acres. Thousands of people are still under evacuation.
We know it's challenging to be out of your homes, to be in an evacuation area. Our goal is simple. We want to protect life. We want to protect property. We want to keep people safe. We want to make sure that if the fire does flare up and does have the potential to move into neighborhoods, we have the resources there and people are out of harm's way.
LA County fire crews are also battling a brush fire in the Lancaster area just south of Kern County line. The blaze is estimated at 335 acres. Crews have been able to stop the spread for now. Already this year, more than 50,000 acres have burned in California. All right, we've got one more quick break. When we come back, I'll have the Memorial Day forecast, and we're going to talk about this new discovery about Neptune's moon. Welcome back to the Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Craig Moeller. You know, yesterday we had our interview with NASA about the expected early launch of the Nancy Grace Roman Space Telescope. Well, we're getting a look at some new data that's come in from the James Webb Space Telescope. Research shows Neptune's third largest moon might be the sole intact survivor of an ancient set of moons that were destroyed at an early point in the solar system's history. The findings show that Nereid's composition is different from other Neptunian moons and may not be a captured Kuiper Belt object like the other satellites around the planet. Not much is known about the Nereid, mostly because it's far from Earth and the Sun. It's named after the sea nymphs in Greek mythology and is believed to have a diameter of roughly 210 miles. It's a little moon out there, but very, very interesting. All right, we're going to go ahead and jump into the forecast. Some important things to note before we finish up our show. We've had our run of warm weather today, a blue day. Our normal high is around 78, 79 degrees. We will be below that today. In fact, we're struggling to get up to 70. You know, we've had just a little bit of precip, like a trace yesterday. We've had a little bit this morning. We do have better chances for showers in the coming days. We need that rain. Right now, we're 5.5 inches below average. As far as the rain chances go, isolated to scattered chances over the coming 6 days. I'd say by next Thursday, we should be drier. We're not talking about a tremendous amount of rain here. The model's kind of projecting a half an inch to an inch, maybe a couple inches up around Tappahannock and Richmond. Lighter amounts for Hampton Roads down to the south, a half an inch to an inch around Edenton. But again, this is through Sunday morning. Some of the other models calling for light amounts, a third of an inch or so with the NAM and the Graph, about a quarter inch. Lesser amounts with the HER, a little bit more with the GFS and the Euro, but that's over the next 36 hours. So that's what we're looking at. Now, there are some parts of the country that need to watch out for severe weather. You can see these areas here highlighted. Marginal risk, but it's elevated for tornadoes there and back across Texas as well. So we'll continue to watch all of this. Again, it's a slight elevation around Lubbock, Mississippi, Alabama, up through Tennessee and Kentucky, all under that elevated risk. Chance for storms down in Georgia, back across Texas. That's for Saturday and Sunday, out to the west, back across Nebraska, but not here in Hampton Roads. Here we're going to find chances for showers, not necessarily storms, but showers across our area. Now, as we take a look, again, temperatures are going to be held in check today with those northeast winds, upper 60s to low 70s. It'll be in the mid 70s down to the south, so it does get a little bit warmer. The showers move out, but we've got more showers set to move back in as we get into the weekend. So just keep those umbrellas handy. You want to take the 13 News Now mobile app with you so you can always have access to our radars. Scan that QR code right there. Again, we want everybody to have a safe and happy Memorial Day weekend. Thanks for joining us from the Weather Desk. We'll see you next time.